Hey, how's it going, guys? Sean from 200 back here. I to bring you guys a deck profile to one of my favorite decks, Battle Sister. So I did a deck profile on this deck 3 years ago, and I'm so glad that I still kept the core of this deck because when it got support in set 12, the support was amazing, and it really just pushed me to finish this deck. I did pick up the Marors and Madelines like when they came out, but then I wasn't really a fan of like finishing the deck because I didn't think it was as competitive as it is now. So right now you're looking at the HBIC Battle Sister Florentine, which we play 4 copies of. Being able to give plus 3k to all the Battle Sisters on your field and stack cards on top of your deck, really good, surprisingly. The HBIC definitely puts in a lot of work, and if you're playing Battle Sisters, I don't know why you wouldn't play less than 4. Next we play 2 Madeline. I play 6 grade 3s just because I don't want to misgrade. We do, even though we play 4 Shrine Enabler in this deck, and this deck draws a lot of cards, you still want to be able to have the grade 3 to ride. 9 games out of 10 you're not going to ride this, but you just want to make sure that you're able to ride consistently because of how easy it is to punish you when you don't ride. For Sable, if you're playing Battle Sisters, you have to play 4 of this card. Because if you don't play 4, you're going to lose a lot of like utility and being able to draw cards just based on having 3 or more Battle Sisters. And you have to Soul Blast a Battle Sister because this deck only plays 1 non-Battle Sister card, which you guys probably know what that is. But being able to draw, get deeper into your deck, and if you don't have a grade 3, get into it, really good. For Macaron, for the 12k attacker, this is a rush deck, and you want to get them to a high damage count as possible for when you go into some of your strides. 3 Tart. Now, we play 3 10ks in this deck because in Battle Sister, you play down as hard as you can in this deck, like set 11 ZTB. So you don't want your opponent to rush you because you're calling that many cards. And then if you ride the 10k, and they only have like 9k rear guards, they're going to have to call a card from their hand, using a card from the hand just to get off another attack. And then lastly we play 2 Coquettes. I had these 2 before the prices like went way up, and I'm like, this deck's more of a side deck, so I'm just like, I'm okay with the 2 that I have, and I see them enough. Next we play 4 Stride Enabler. I don't know why you would play less than 4. Being able to search out your ideal grade 3, the HBIC, as I call her, it's really, really good. Next we play 4 of the Battle Sister Perfect Guard. The effect doesn't really go off, you mainly just play it just because it has a Battle Sister name, but for those of you guys who don't know, because you mainly don't see it going off in gameplay online, when you PG, you have another one in the drop, and you have 3 or less cards, you get to draw in hand, you get to draw a card. And then we play 3 Taffy and 3 Rusk. These are your 10k attackers, grade 1 beat sticks. This one has resist, this one doesn't. And this one activates without the cost of the Soul Blast because this one does. But I'm considering upping this to 4 because we're in a control meta. However, with Mega Colony coming out, you won't be able to select this for some of the skills. So I like this lineup, 3-3. It's a good split. Next, for triggers, we play, should be pretty simple. 4 Muffin. This deck needs countercharge, and that's the one advantage that I think this deck has to a deck such as Vanguard, which has a similar playstyle. Being able to have a consistent way of countercharging for you to get off more effects, really awesome. 4 Ginger, need to get these hollowed. And then 4 of the only non-Battle Sister deck, Battle Sister card in this deck, Psychic Bird. This is the only non-Battle Sister card in this deck, but if you have it, I recommend you just call it, use the skill, go off your draw, because you're going to want to deck thin for some of your strides, and if you don't have a grade 3, you get to have another chance at drawing into it. Plus, you could Soul Blast this card with some of your strides, so it's not that big of a minus for some of your skills. And we play 12 crit because you really don't want to play any other trigger, because draws are kind of turboing out in this deck, so you just want to make sure that you're able to end games as fast as possible. And stands, I don't even know what stands are in this deck, honestly. Next we play Churro for the heals. Gotta play heals, gotta play Battle Sister. Then for the starter, one of my favorite cards when I was just starting out Vanguard, Battle Sister Waffle. So I decided to stick with Waffle because she really fits the theme of how I want to play this deck. Going all out on some of my earlier turns, getting off another attacker, or if you call Sable, you have the conditions met, you get essentially a +1. Because this card's generally a break even because you're getting the 1-for-1. But Sable makes it +1. Now onto the strides. Now let's get the G-Guards out of the way. So we're playing 1 Lost Jamaica's Apex, being able to selectively add cards and stack cards at the bottom. If you remember what you stacked at the bottom, at some point in the game it will become useful, especially if you're grinding out, because sometimes your opponent will be able to guard your large numbers. Next we play 1 Ichibayoshi. I just play this as like a flip target. First G-Guard, really easy 20k if you have 3 or more. 1 Amaterasu. I pulled one, so I might as well use it. You don't necessarily need 2. Some people run 2. I just think 1's fine because the Battle Sister G-Guard makes up for it. Being able to counterblast 1 when it's placed on the Guardian Circle, you get to draw a card, and then you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a Battle Sister, this card gains 5k, and you may put it at the bottom or leave it at the top. So it's really kind of the same thing besides Amaterasu, except it's more public knowledge and it only gains 5k instead of 10k shield. So it's pretty good. But you get a draw also. Now on to the strides. We play 1 Kamususano for the recovery plays. 1 Ame no Sagume. I don't have a GB8, but I would play a GB8 in the spot. But I like this as like the stride that I use because I don't have it, because it has an on-hit skill of Oracle. When it hits, you get to draw 2 cards, discard a card, countercharge 1, and soul charge 1. So just putting some on-hit pressure. Okay. Say field is locked or something like that. For Stillwater, this card is really, really broken. Like, so good. Being able to flip a copy of itself to draw 2 cards to help you reach the Oracle for its GB3, stopping grade 0s and G Guardians, it's like so good. And that's why I want a GB8 in this deck, because you're essentially flipping 3 cards including itself. Because it can't be used as your first stride for the GB3 skill, you're going to be turboing into your GB8 pretty quickly. Next we play 4 Stolen. I honestly don't like her. I just use her for her GB3. All the Battle Sisters gain 3k. So with the HBIC, you're going to be getting +12 on all of your columns, which is higher than Vanguard. So she also has the skill of you get to soul charge, check the top number for how many Battle Sister rewards you have, and stack them, whatever order you want, and then put some on the bottom in any order. So if they're not triggers, you usually just put those at the bottom. And then for my favorite stride in the deck, Battle System Reroar. So Battle System Reroar has this cool effect that I like to use her as my first stride generally, instead of Stolen like some people, because she puts on good on-hit pressure. If you have a nice front row of Battle Sisters and you use her skill, you get to gain the skill by flipping anything face up, counterblast 1 when this unit hits, so it doesn't have to hit a Vanguard just when it hits, but I don't know why you wouldn't attack the Vanguard. You get to counterblast 1 and draw, and then GB3 Oracle, if you have all the front row rear guards, all units in your front row gain +1k for each for each card in your hand. I just haven't used her GB3. I always go into her first stride, because in this deck I generally like to stay stuck, so I don't get the G-Guard first, essentially. Just so when I stride, it just becomes that much more powerful. But I use this card a lot as my first stride. This is generally always my first stride. If you guys play this deck, I generally always recommend for you to go into her first, just because she gets the job done. So yeah, that's it for this Battle Sister deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed this deck profile, and such, leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'll leave a nice link right here so we can reach 500 soon. We're at 493 at the recording of this video, so please help me reach it. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.